What's up, everybody? This is your girl Ronnie. You are tuning into the Doug Vigil show at the Voice of San Joaquin and Stockton. He has his guest today, who is Carlos Villapudua, and he is running for state assembly.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you for coming, Carlo. And I would like for giving you your opportunity to come down and talk to me about what is, your campaign will be. So tell me about why are you running? People want to know why you're running for assembly. And I know a lot of people will tell you want to be mayor, you want to be supervisor, and all that stuff. But yeah, your main focus is assembly. Why assembly?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me today. It's on a beautiful Saturday evening, afternoon, actually. I decided a long time ago that if you're either passionate about being part of the community or you're not. You can, people can, not want to be a supporter. That's the hardest thing about, being in government or in politics, is that it's very black and white. It's not gray. There's no gray. It's either you're liked or you're disliked. And when you can develop that tough skin and not worry about what people think and just do what is right for the community, and that's where I'm at now. I've gotten older. I've gotten much wiser. I built strong roots in our community, born and raised here, and I know exactly where my heart's at. And where people feel about me. When I got termed out as a county supervisor, I never went dormant. Most people, when they're out of the office, you don't hear about them for a while. I never did that, and obviously you guys know I ran last time and I lost, and I know that. But the reason why I say that is that I'm not a quitter. I'm a fighter. No matter what, you gotta, get back up, brush yourself off, and if that's what you're passionate about doing, and that's why I'm here. It's because I'm passionate about being involved in my community, and and I'm just not going to quit on my community.
So tell me. I know your history. I know you talk about. I think on Facebook that you were a former police officer, right? A sheriff.
I worked at the sheriff's department for 5 years. Yeah.
And then you were the social worker, right?
Right.
So tell me about that part from your aspect of education, of learning of community. Is that something you're going to carry with you?
Yeah. So when I first was at the sheriff's department, I used to interview anything that had to do with high felony, any felony. And what I realized back then is that I would sit there and be talking to inmates and telling them, I would read their background and go, well, why are you here? Why don't you do this when you get out of jail? Try talking to this person. That's called triaging, right? Trying to help, right? But back then that wasn't the practice. So as in those times, they were always telling you, Carlos, you can't do that. You can't do that. Even though I was doing that,
right.
Well, guess what? Fast forward now, that's exactly the practice of what they're doing now. So of helping folks that are, going to come in and that have gotten in trouble or incarcerated, guiding them to what they should be doing. Then I went into the social work because that's what was my degree in. I was director of welfare to work at getting people off of aid back into the workforce. And so to answer your question, what am I going to be doing is exactly that, is continuous to help our community. Obviously everyone talks about homeless, but my main focus is to get people back on the right track. We can sit here for an hour and talk about homeless, but my thing is about getting people on the right track, getting them back into the workforce, getting them to who they need to talk to, and at the state level, being the person that's going to identify that and fight for those dollars to bring them here locally. Tracy, Mountain House, Stockton, Lodi, those are all different cities.
Right.
Yeah, no matter what, and I think that, not saying anything negative, but we have to fight for each individual city differently,
right.
Not as one. You got to fight look at what their issues are and what are their problems and what are their top priorities. Because I can tell you right now, Mountain House, and Stockton priorities are totally different. We have to fight for them individually.
Okay, so let me ask this. Do you have anything to say, Renee, about this?
Well, I do agree that you definitely have to take a look, and what you mentioned about, what you did by your true heart. I'm going to turn one of these cameras around just really quickly, just so people can see who's talking.
Yeah, they can see you. Yeah.
But I was just going to say what that makes you is a people person, and the fact that you actually truly have concern and care for the betterment of your communities. And now, when you talk about the fast forward, that's what they're doing now, because they realize you got to tend to the people.
Right.
Even if it's one person at a time. And when you talk about individuality, yes, looking at the different cities individually, because they all have different needs. I think that's just a really great mindset to have on a lot of things.
Right.
And I just think that for people who are are homeless, for my kind, people are taking pictures of people who are homeless that are addicts. I mean, taking really like they're more a target for their, because I think they need program, not prevention, but recovery. Because they need funds for recovery to get back out of those who are addiction. In San Joaquin, there are hardly any doctor that willing to accept any form of insurance or Medi-Cal of the recovery, because they're out there, they're taking crack, they're taking their own life in their hand, and they're living out there unsanitary and unsafe place. You know what I mean? That, to me, that you could do that in a third world country. And here in the United States, you shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean?
Let me say this.
Okay.
Is that one thing that I don't talk about, right? I had an older brother that died from alcohol and drug abuse. Okay, so it's
So it hits home.
Right. So it's
Yeah.
passionate, not just home, but you think about what families go through, right? Watching a mom or a father asking for help, and there's not, how can you help the person, and that's, we went through that. And that's why I'm so passionate about this, is because I realize that there's 30-day, 60-day programs here, but I'm gonna be really frank, is that they don't work.
Right.
You can't change a person in 60 days.
Right.
The best program that I see, and I've seen many, and I've been to San Diego to visit, their homeless shelter there. I've been to different cities here. Number one is in San Francisco, called Delancey Street. Delancey Street is one of the top best programs. Their success rate is in the high 90s. And what they do, it's not there to teach you about, hey, you have a drug problem, let's put you through the 12 steps. Not that I do support that. But what they teach you is to reprogram you to get back into society,
Right.
about being part of society.
How to be a
Right.
productive person.
Earn a check, or teach you the trades. And that's what you're going to see from me, is that I want to bring in, not everyone's going to go to college. And I'm
Right.
very supportive of that. But we need to bring back the trades.
Right, I
we
totally
need
agree
to
with that.
stop
Yeah.
the next
Yes.
generation of folks that are either going to be
Vocational.
Right.
Skills.
on aid or homeless. The folks that are going to go out there. There's so many people right now that they do want a job. They want to use their hands.
Yeah.
They can't go to college. It just wasn't for them.
Right.
They want to use their hands. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm 100% supportive of that.
I totally agree with you, because a lot of people, people that go to trade school, they don't want to read. I know that people. I ask people, how can you go to college? Because I don't like to read. I don't want to get up the daily routine.
Right.
They want to just go straight and make money, and that's
Right.
and that's what the answer. You can't be stuck up on college level career and go up and up in higher education. There should be a limit on people who are different group, like you say, different group that are worker, and then there's one are educated profession that are required to have knowledge and science and all that. And while we still, the person with a trade, are more skillful and more knowledgeable and getting well-paid good money, that
Right.
profession cannot do what they cannot do. You know what I mean? They're
Right
getting paid off.
now, I mean, the number one problem that we have, not just state but national, we don't have enough truck drivers. And everyone thinks that truck drivers
I wanna be a truck
are
driver.
are going to be long haul, right? Go all over
Just
the
to
world.
travel.
Yeah,
Just to go
but some
around.
people do that. They
Yeah.
do. They just travel to see the world.
Yeah.
But I have folks here that will hire a truck driver and start them off at $75,000 a year.
Oh,
And they're
wow.
home every day. I'm talking, get
That's
your
nice.
Class A license.
Uh-huh.
You get it in 4 weeks. by the 5th week, you already have a job lined up. There are so many companies here. Remember, we're in an ag community still. 3 out of every 5 jobs is ag related here. And if you just drive down I-5 and 99, you will see sign after sign saying truckers needed. And if you just have to, just to spend a few minutes to walk in and ask, what do you guys pay? You will see it's a great pay, and you're here home every day.
I remember a while ago, like a year ago, there was a news regarding about truck driver calling, living, and they have their wives living in the truck, going traveling at the companion. They're going all over the state, and to me it was like, wow, that's totally awesome. You don't have to wait to come home when you want to. At the end of the route, you still,
I mean, think about it. Everybody now is ordering online. They're shopping online. How do you think that gets moved? Cargo has to get through cargo.
Right.
Someone has to deliver it. So I mean, that's just one vocational.
Right.
There's so many different vocational programs that I want to bring, and that's once I'm in Sacramento, and that's exactly what we're going to bring into San Joaquin County.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. I want to touch base with, knowing I'm an open LGBT community as well as a deaf community advocate as well. And what do people have any misconception about within the LGBT community that you might have encountered? Well, I have. To me, you seem like a good person. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of topic, right? Because it's now very brought up, right? It's out, right, in public. But I grew up, I'm talking in high school, knowing, my friends, who were gay, right? And I just knew it, right? And there was never a question. But back then it was kind of more hidden, right?
More taboo.
Right, more taboo, right? But you as a person know. And it never ever bothered me, right? In fact, I was actually more of a if you dislike my friends, guess what? You may have to go against me right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. And I don't want to say fight because I'm not a person that fights.
Go through me like a
right. Because I knew that, and it never bothered me, right? But I'm talking, when people bring it up to me, it almost it's coming almost like an insult because I grew up as a young adult knowing who my friends were and a good percent of them were gay and it was normal to me, what I mean? So when people try to bring it to me in a different fashion, like, well, what do you think? It's like it's natural to me, and it's like I don't understand where you're coming from. It's like it's like asking, well, hey, that person's straight,
you like
right?
chocolate?
That person is straight. How you got a problem with that person straight? I'm like, no, Easter, who cares, right? So the problem, to answer your question, it's never bothered me, and I hate when people kind of make it like
assumption that
when I'm not, I'm very supportive. Yeah, I'm very supportive. I mean, listen, I have best friends that are gay.
Why make it an issue? People are people.
Right.
I have a nephew.
Why didn't you bring that agenda? Why bringing the homophobic?
Right.
I got family members right.
If it spills out into something else when it becomes in the professional world, and your sexuality or whatever that is hindering your professional work, then maybe that's not, that might be an issue, but that should not be an issue because that's a personal preference.
Right. Right. And let me take it a step further is that, I have friends, family members that are, nephews and nieces, and let me tell you, I love them even more, right? Because they've came out, out of I thought maybe it was challenging for them, and I've have more respect because they're
vulnerable when they come to you and talk to you.
And I want to take it a step further is that when I'm elected, I will hire somebody from the LGBT community to work for me. But why? Is because you think you know everything, you don't, right? And it's now such a strong subject, right? But it's not a subject; it's our community, right? And I want to be able to be part of it. I'm surprised sometimes that I don't get invited just because we all know in certain parts of San Joaquin County, you have small circles, right? And they stick with their own circle.
Right.
And as much as you want to be part of not belonging, but belonging to the community, people make assumptions. And you know what? I always wanted to make sure that people know that they're part of our community, and I hope I'm part of their community also.
That's why I totally understand where you're coming from, because, you know, as a person with the LGBT community, at the LGBT community, at the LGBT in Stockton, we are divided. Just plain simple, I'll say it myself. We are divided because since the Pride Center had knocked down the Emperor, we kind of get back into the routine. Now people are coming back to unity,
Good.
but it's still that loyalty is going on, and which I personally don't like. You know, to me, loyalty, there's loyalty versus community. Community is out, you know, will help more benefit than loyal, because loyal, I mean, they could betray you no matter what it is. They could, if you're, you know, to the death, but I think those issues, you know, had kind of ramificated itself during this year than when things that happened at the Pride Center.
Right.
And I think a lot of people that I have spoken to are coming around, because they were divisive. They talk about, they preach about hate, and yet there was hate among ourselves too.
Right.
So just hearing from my point of view and perspective, you're right. You know, people will in Canada will run and say, "Oh, this guy is not going to run for LGBT community, that's a civil right and all that stuff. He don't have no friends that are gay. He's homophobic. He's running. He endorsed somebody else. He endorsed somebody else. And you don't know what your other candidates. That's why you have to be very careful who you endorse.
Right.
Someone that it might put a red stain on your thing, and so people
you know
will watch
what?
out.
And trust me, I've been there, right?
Right.
I mean, I've endorsed some people that I wish, you know, I would have taken it back, right?
Right.
I mean, we're human. You know, we make mistakes, but for me now, I try not to.
You're wiser right now.
We're very wiser. I'm very cautious about you know my decisions, and I also want to get smarter on my decisions, right? So I will never tell you that I know everything. Hey, I got this. I know everything. No. People that I plan on working with are people who I'm going to learn from also. People that, and it has nothing to do with they're older or younger. Hey, they're going to be from all walks of this world. You know, that can sit there and say, hey, Carlos, here's what I think. I never will you sit there and say, hey, I know the answer, because I don't.
Right.
I don't. But I want to give you the right answer, at least best answer that I can give you, right? And that's probably being involved in helping our community become better.
Okay. Renee, you have anything about the party line and community versus of that again with Carlo?
For this particular...
A particular campaign, people are questioning his, you know, whether he go one way or the other.
Which ones are your favorite to work, or that you really are ready to go after?
You mean like either candidates or
for your campaign, as far as like some of the things that you kind of let's just say when you get there, when you get into the office position.
That's a great answer. I get asked this all the time.
Yeah,
right?
what
People
would you
always
want to go
talk
at?
about bills. Hey, Carlos, what bills are you going to create? The first thing that I want to do is be a bill watcher. Meaning
nice.
Right. So if there's a bill that you are going to present, the number one thing that I keep hearing from folks is that I'm tired, Carlos. I'm moving out of this state, right? I'm going to Texas. I'm going to Nevada.
You're tired of it.
I want to look at
How
why.
do we keep you?
Right.
Is this bill that you're creating? Is it going to be a job killer? You know, how is it going to help us, and or how is it going to kill us? You know, how today will it look in 5 years, and how will it look in 10 years, right? And that's kind of my decision always when I make a vote. I don't make a vote just like that. I do my homework. I look at who's going to benefit from it and who's going to hurt from it, and then how's this going to look 5 years, 10 years from now, right? You have to look at that. Then you make a decision. But my decisions right now is to look at bills that are out there going to be coming before the governor, and is it going to pertain the valley is it can pertain San Joaquin County because I honestly feel that we get passed over and over.
All the time.
They think either Southern California or Bay Area. We get passed over, and I want to make sure that when they pass a bill, does it pertain San Joaquin County? Because that's what I'm trying to do, is put us on the map in Sacramento.
Right.
And is it going to be a job killer? Because I just get tired of hearing folks saying, Carlos, here's another tax, here's another a bill that I got to pay more and more money. I'm barely making. I heard it this morning to a person that it was knocking on his door and talking to him. He just said, after a 10-minute conversation, he was sold on what I was telling him, but it's not so much of a speech. It was something that I feel from inside, because I've been, in Mountain House, I've been in Tracy, I've been in Stockton, I've been in Lodi, and listening to folks. And the number one thing besides homeless that you'll hear is about job creation. Why are we constantly putting more and more costs on businesses? That's why you want businesses to succeed.
Right.
So that's number one that I'm be watching, or anything that's.
I just have something to say about that, and that's just a personal opinion. That really, they're probably starting to tax a lot of the businesses, because a lot of people, I want to say working class people, maybe people who aren't at the level of being a business owner or entrepreneurs or anything of that nature, but with the lack of skills, the lack of people in the workforce,
right,
is causing the money
putting the burden on
to
the
work,
putting the burden on
who are
the
making money.
the company.
So it's like getting them back to work. You got more people in the spending in the spending world, and money is flowing a little bit better, rather than just taxing business owners and putting the burden on them, but getting people back into the work.
But I definitely think that small business are a very crucial thing, because there are people who are entrepreneurs that want to start their business, but there's always a block. You have to buy the permit, you have to buy the licensing, you have to buy the planning and all that stuff, and yet there's a lot of red tape.
Fees.
Right.
And fees on top of that. Imagine that.
Yes.
Before you open the door, it costs you $20,000 just
insurance.
Yeah.
And all of those fees should be used for a lot of things, but they want to be in pockets maybe sometime somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I know Renee. She had her own business. She does her honey thing, her canner, her wild. She did amazing. But yet, she goes.
Invoice as we speak.
but she
entrepreneur.
But the thing is that she is really good. But instead of having to go on in a van. But she gonna have her home, probably like go across the street of Miracle Mile and open a store, a boutique, and have that. But the insurance, not insurance, but the rent cost is high, like almost $2,000.
It's expensive.
Very expensive.
Everywhere you go now. Even this. I was in San Francisco, and I see what a lot of people are doing there. They're getting like one big warehouse, and then they're sharing the whole rent. But there's little boutiques inside. That's something maybe we can look at here,
that's a good idea. Like flea market, they have the little building.
It's interesting that you say that, because I actually have an idea that I just wrote in my journal. I don't know if I want to share, because actually I kind of want to capitalize on it.
Okay.
But it's something similar, might as well. People are kind of doing it anyways. Maybe they just don't know it. I wanted to do kind of like a flea market, but it's not. It's like, I call it. Should I share it? I should share it, huh?
Share it.
I call it a pop-up vendor party, or pop-up vendor booth. So basically, instead of saying, "Hey, we need you guys to be vendors," we need you guys to come. Here's the applications, here's the booth fees. You can have a 1 day, 2 day, half day, whatever. Basically, it's just kind of saying, "Hey, come to this event for this much money, and bring your wares with you. You can put it in a backpack, you can put it in a suitcase, but it has to be mobile. So just you can cop a squat somewhere, or you can keep it on you, and you're literally just having a mixer with your stuff.
Okay.
Right.
And you are the walking vendor without having to set up a booth. You can come and go at any time. You don't have to be obligated to sit there all day if you don't want to. You just pay the one-time fee. You're in the doors, and you're just mixing and mingling, kind of like how the floating merchant boats are in there's another country that everybody's on the boats, and you kind of just come and go as you please.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just coming and going
That's
as you
a good
please.
idea.
Wow.
And so
I like that.
I just thought about that this morning, because of an event that I'm having tonight. we couldn't get vendors, but I was like, you know what? Why did it have to be a booth or a table? I wanted to just tell people, you know what? I'm going to make it this, but it's not my event to make it that really. So I have to have my own event separate to create this pop-up vendor.
I like that. I like that idea.
I like that. You can put it
You
out
should,
there in the corner.
you should
right
also
there
try to
outside.
create a little pop-up. You know these 10 by 10s are too
Yeah.
big, right?
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
a small mini one, right? And you can like an umbrella where it just pops up. There's another invention.
Well, yeah, they could do that too.
Yeah.
And so, it's just things
No,
like
but I
that.
love
So
your idea.
I think it's cool.
my
I think
spirit
it's a
just
good idea.
goes, my entrepreneur
That's a good
spirit
idea.
goes all the time. And so I thought, well, there goes another one. And I think that'd be great because not only would they just have a door entry fee, they
Right.
are just at their will to stay and go however much time they want. But
Awesome.
things like that. And so I
Awesome.
think it's great that you guys.
But there are people like that are beginning to that, and then people that in the Sacramento are not aware though because they're thinking about commercial, they're thinking about small business and and tax, and they're not. But people who start are just are starting small before they even
Right.
get ready to the big time.
Got
you know?
to. You
Yeah,
got to.
still.
Yeah.
So now let's move on and let's talk about your platform brief. So tell me the people want to know what is your platform as far as running.
Well, I mentioned some of them already. I talked about vocational training. Obviously everyone, like I said, everyone's thinking about college, bringing a CSU, which I am supportive. But I want to make sure that we have vocational jobs. Okay, that's number one. I mean, I think that it's more than crucial because folks are trying to make a decision in their life, and sometimes it's not. And you said it earlier, is that 2 years, 16 months is too long sometimes. Some people can't stay in class that long. And it's not that they're not smart, it's just that that's not for them.
Right. Totally.
So, I want to bring vocational programs that, hey, in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, you're done. You got a training. But the vocational has to pertain to our community, right?
Right.
Because there's going to be someone here that's going to offer and hire them, 3 out of every 5 jobs, as I said, are ag related. There's so many jobs in that field, that people don't think of themselves of being in the ag community when it's actually great work. There's and good, the people here that are, to say in a farmer, there's so many great farmers here that want to hire folks from here.
Oh yeah.
The second thing is that I have a brother-in-law that wakes up every day at 2:00 in the morning to travel all the way to the Bay Area.
Okay.
And he's on the road many hours. And by the time he wakes up, which is way before all of us, and by the time he gets home, he never really gets to see his family. And this guy's from Stockton, right? But there's so many people that do that day in, day out.
I used to live that life for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
And I got
Wow.
orders and I left, came back, and it was worse. The commute, when I left in 2015, when I came back in late 2016, my commute ended up extending a good, I want to say 30 minutes. It got worse. It got real, and I had experienced something I had never experienced before, and that was road rage. And I thought, oh my gosh! And yes, you're leaving very early. You're coming back very late. You don't get to see your family. And a lot of people, we should have that quality of job and the level and skill. We have that here because
do.
obviously we have it here because they're going to the Bay Area for that. But we just need to bring those industries, those companies, those
Right.
corporations here.
Right, and that's something that they should have. They should be protected. They should have 40 hours a week, time pay, sick leave, day off. I mean, what happened? They're working the people
Right.
like robots.
Right. But here's what we need to do is figure out the rail system here.
Yeah.
There's got to be a better transportation
Right.
system here. And there's been talks about Rail Link out there, and I know they've been meeting and talking, and they have a great idea. I've been actually attending some of those meetings, but the problem is that we're constantly talking and not doing. And what you're going to see for me is that I'm going to give you a date and a time.
Right.
I want to give you a date and time, not just say, hey, what's what I want to fight for and not complete it.
Right.
I want to complete it, get it done so that people can get off the road. We can get to the Bay Area. We can get folks that want to even do tourism, that want to come and visit our community here. And that's the thing that you're going to see for me, that once that's done, what that's going to create is more businesses wanting to relocate here, and that's going to create more jobs for us. And you're going to see businesses that we already have here doing even better.
Right.
You'll see people hiring more. You know, they'll expand more. They may even want to move here in our community. And I think that once we change that, because it's like changing our culture, right?
Yeah.
Once we change our culture, you're going to see this community prosper. It'll change. You won't be talking about homeless forever, because it'll just change. You'll get people that are just going to be tired of being on the streets and saying, "Hey, listen, there's a job for me here." You know, someone has introduced me to getting a better paying job now instead of me living in the streets. And that's one. I mean, and the third one is making sure that we have a community that is going to prosper. You know, I want people to feel safe. Obviously, the homeless issue is, it's, you know, everyone talks about it, right? And it just seems like there's so many different ideas thrown out there. And there's things that government should be doing, and there's things that government should not be doing. And I think that right now, what you see here is that you got government trying to run that. And I think that's where we go wrong. You know, you got to give it to folks that are going to be day in, day out. If I was to sit here and tell you, hey, I'm going to be the chair of this homeless task force, I'm basically telling you, out of my other 28 committees, that's another one that I'm going to sit on. You know, do you really think I'm going to spend and give you my 100%? No. And that's what happens here. You got too much of government, of controlling an issue that it should belong to our community. Let our community handle it. Let our community tell us what they want to do. There's other cities and counties that are doing a really good job. And the reason why we are failing is because we have government telling us. We have government rules, you know, and we can't always follow what government. Even though I'm saying I want to get in government, but there's certain things that I think that the community needs to handle it.
Yeah.
But also, you know, you made a very good point. Something just kind of kick in. You know, a lot of, you know, there's so many community advocates. Like you know, when I was 27, I would, you know, my mom, my dad moved to Colorado, to Nevada, and I was living with a dorm, you know, and living in the dorm when I was going to college. People are eating with the food, and they're taking my clothes, and I'm like, man, what happened? Where are all my food? Where are they? And they all ate, and you know, so and I'm probably starving. So I decided to leave and just go to school. And I slept in my car. Okay, so I was there for like 3 months at Santa Cruz. And you know what? One thing about homeless advocacy is that they put too much emphasis on leave them alone. That's indignity. You know, that's not right. That's cruelty. But yet, I put myself in a position. Okay, well, I put myself into a situation where I don't care. I live outside. I'm gonna use their restroom. I go take a shower in the county, the community college, where you get to walk in and take a shower, and then from there, and then just stay there, and yet, and telling me I have to be dignity. You know, do I need dignity? No, I wouldn't, because I didn't like myself. I had no respect for myself. So people who are homeless really don't care where they are and where they're at.
That's so true.
Huh?
That's so true.
No, so for me, my attitude was that particular moment. So if you, when the government try to correct something, that the advocate, oh no, they protest like, no, you can't do that, you can't move them.
Right.
Well, who knows? This person is probably and homeless too. I like living here where I am. I don't have to have no responsibility. I don't have to worry about paying my bill. I don't have to pay my insurance. I don't have to pay my rent. All that stuff. That's freedom.
Yeah.
Living outside. So
they're the freest people. They
Yeah.
are the freest people. They're off the grid. They don't have any responsibility other than just to survive the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the attitude, and people don't think that way. And I be telling people, oh, that's not what we think. That's not true. I said, it is true, because that's how I felt when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when the government tried to help out and try to put me into a camp, and I believe that, you know, I'm a recovery addict. Okay, it was so hard because I didn't know that I was taking Klonopin was an addictive pill, and nobody didn't tell me that. When the doctor told me, I asked him, this is the thing. He said, no, I was tricked into it. It took me almost 25 years to find out that I was addicted.
Wow.
So what happened? Now it's considered a controlled substance. So now they want me to eliminate my more doctor visits, eliminate more guinea pig of medication, trying it out, and then once they withdraw, I get bad days.
Right.
So I see that, and they start giving me more medication to subside the other medication, and I'm hallucinating and all that stuff. I'm like, where am I at? Where am I at? And so I emphasize people who are taking medication that are trying to withdraw from another medication is not doing it correct way.
Right.
And the county is putting more force into that. So I have to deal with this anguish of controlling my life of that particular reason. So government do have to step in when we need to be protected too, not the nonprofit. The nonprofit are good in some way to take care of themselves in a way that they should be respected.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree with you. I mean, the only thing that I'll say when it comes to government is that, like an example of Delancey Street, the reason why they don't take government funding is because sometimes government
They'll regulate.
well that they're gonna you have to go by their rules.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly
And
right.
and so if you're going by their rules, I
Good
hate to
point.
say it, some of the government rules have failed us.
Yes, they're not conducive for
Right.
actual change.
And remember, I said earlier, I said, I never bring up that my brother has passed away, unless it's asked, because people might think, well, you're using it as the part of your politics. Never do I bring that up. But
it'll come back. Everybody have a skeleton in their closet, and
The
everything
reason why I
that
bring that up-
you have to have some kind of motivation to get that thing done, right?
and you know what? When you're the guy that had to tell, like me, I had to tell my mom
Oh no, I'm so
that
sorry.
that he
Your
had
brother.
passed away.
Oh, no.
The hardest thing is to see, one, that you just lost your brother. Second, to see what your mom's going to go through, right? Because
Right.
we're planned that we're supposed to die first before seeing our kids pass away, right?
Right.
It was reversed, right? I mean, no one knows a date, but that was the hardest thing that I had to challenge, and I never forget that day. And I remember so much of what he went through. He was homeless. People would call me, he's over here and over there. Carl's going to pick him up. Was it embarrassing? Yeah, but let me tell you, it taught me to work harder at where I'm at now.
That's
Right.
Why
Yeah,
am I
right.
fighting?
Yeah.
Why am I passionate about this? It's because it's not something I'm just doing
For yourself, yeah.
I went through it. I learned it. I've seen other people go through it. I've seen other parents go through this, and I want to fight for them.
Yeah. And people need fighters. People need people who
Yeah.
have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
So, putting that into your campaign and, what you're doing, that's good to see. It's good to hear that you have that agenda.
But the thing is, the most
Thank
people, but Carlos, a lot of people, you think on the presidential, people become connected with your candidate when you're on a personal level. When I have noticed that when a candidate talk to you at the personal level, you get to win their trust. You instant win their vote. You instant get their confidence. So therefore, when you talk about this issue of what's been happening about the topic of drug prevention, recovery, I strongly believe I need to have strong program for recovery. You
Yeah.
know, those are the things, and you're part of that. You know what happened. People need to get help. And on their terms, not the term, but definitely their body depend on their body, and how are they going to be able to withdraw all that. You go through a lot of those cycles of sweating palm and all that stuff, and it's very hard. And I know that for a fact because they did me 3 days of dryness,
Oh.
and I'm like. My heart was pumping. I felt like I was gonna die. I felt like I was having a heart attack. I
I've
felt like
seen
I was
it.
sweating.
I've seen it. It's the
So-
worst sickness ever.
Yeah, it's the worst
Yeah.
thing. You got pain in your neck. You don't know
Yeah.
what's coming from. You're having a seizure. So people say, "Oh, he died of an overdose," because I wasn't taking it, and I was
Right.
like, whatever. But definitely at the personal level, that's what I put down. Personal journey. What would you want people to really understand where you're coming from as you're running for assembly?
Well, I want people to know that first thing is that I have failed before. I've lost, and but I didn't lose because of not trying hard enough. But that does not stop me. I'm not a quitter, and I'm not gonna quit for our community. I'm gonna continue fighting. I never went dormant, even when I termed out. I never went dormant. I was still a part of my community. And I'm not just picking a seat just because, hey, the seat is open, let's try for this, right? No. I mean, I got offered, folks there was a job here that, that paid 3 times the amount more. And I turned it down just because I know this is where I want to head, where I want to go. And when I say I want to go, it's not so much of the word I, it's we. I have a community that's behind me, and when I get elected, it's about us. And there's no one right now that I can sit there and say, I know my opponents, I'm not going to say anything negative, but here's what I'll say is this, then people see it, is that I'm working 10 times harder than ever. Why? Because it's up to me to lose this. And I don't want to lose this. I want to win this seat so that we can have a better community, a better person in Sacramento that's going to fight for us and bring and make sure that San Joaquin County is on the map there. We get past stuff over and over. Why? Because I think that a lot of people that get in office, they're always thinking about getting ahead to the next level. I don't want to go anywhere else except we're there and get this thing done. I'm not looking at, I'm not looking at Congress. I'm not looking at Senate. I'm not looking at any of that. I'm looking at this seat so that I use the word we underlined, we can prosper and we can put San Joaquin County on the map in Sacramento.
Question. So with having said that, can you, for people who may not know the impact that San Joaquin County actually has in Northern California?
Right.
Can you just give them a little bit of understanding what that is, from your perspective, as far as being Democratic and vying for that seat, and what that means for our county, for the state of what our county brings?
Our county brings a lot. I've been saying it. I think we kind of it's like engraved in us, right? We're thinking. People say, "Oh, you're a farming community, right?" And just a bunch of farmers over there. Well, guess what? Proud of that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're proud of it, and you know what? And I want to protect that.
Yes. So
why? Because we feed not just this community, not this state. We feed this country and the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about the inland port that we have here, that of what goes out of here and what comes in here.
Yes.
We have cargo. We have the best transportation system you can think of. 3 major freeways here, and highways that moves cargo.
We have the ability to get it out and distribute it.
Why do you think that there's all these warehouses being built bigger than a football stadium? Why?
Exactly
It's because of the economy here, of what we have to offer, and we need to protect that.
Yes,
We got to protect that. You'd be surprised that I've been, when the governor's race was when they were running and they came here, and I met with a lot of them. A lot of them did not know anything about San Joaquin County. They thought it was just like a big city, small or big city, not about the ag community. I was waiting, tell me something about the ag community. What do you know about our ag community? No, if you look at...
we should be the forerunners in being able to produce policy around insurance policies that protect agriculture in our area. But are they doing that? No.
No.
They should be number one to say, this is how we need the policy. You're going to write it like this, insurance companies, and that's how you're going to sell it back to us so that it is protecting us in the way we need it to.
Right.
Who's doing that?
No, nobody.
And we keep... And think about that. That has to lead by cargo, and number one that gets hit the most, is transportation. You'll have another policy, another taxation, and you look at think about what we have. We don't have asparagus anymore, right? Because it comes from
expensive.
Right. Now we have almonds, cherry, grapes. Walnuts. We're now one of the number one tourist communities in California. 80, what is it, like 87 wineries now. And by the way, I got endorsed by the Wine Association.
Congratulations.
Right? So, which is nice. Why? Because they knew how I fought for them, right? It wasn't about drinking wine.
Right.
It's about, hey, they're gonna come here.
Yeah.
There's gonna be construction here. They're gonna. I just drove today, and they're opening another hotel in Lodi. It's about hotels. Who's gonna clean those hotels? Who's gonna do the washing for the sheets? Our restaurants.
More work, more job.
Or yeah. So all that equals jobs, and then when you have jobs, get what you have. You have a safer community. And that's what I'm fighting
and
for.
that's why Renee made a good point about agriculture. What San Juan King, because I have meet a lot of farmer, Taylor Farm. I mean, people that work in the farm. I have my own neighbor. She goes out at 2 o'clock in the morning and go to Lodi and pick up their grape, their what do you call it?
All the fruits and vegetables.
Vegetable and tomato and all that stuff. And all those things, they work very hard for our food today. Look at that.
I just took this picture recently because I saw this, and what it struck in me was the fact that we see agricultural instruments rolling all over our streets because we're used to that. You won't see this in the future.
No.
If they continue to build urban development, you will not see this, and that's what we need to protect.
Yes.
It'll be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I saw that, I was like, oh, that's gold right there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's our gold.
That's our commodity.
Yeah.
So now we're in number I showed. So Carlo, what would be the last word you want to talk to end the show? To
How can they
contact
follow
you?
you?
Yeah.
So go ahead. What do you want to do?
Well, I just want to end by saying, first, thank you for having me. I really do appreciate this. I'm working extremely hard to win this race, beyond, a race that I've ever ran.
Mm-hmm.
My very first race, I had 7 people running against me, and this race reminds me so much of it, but times 10. Okay, I'm not just in Stockton. I'm in Mountain House. I'm in Tracy. I'm in Lodi. I was in Lodi today, this morning. Here I'm on this talk show. I'm going to go out and enjoy the Miracle Mile event today. I don't have. I mean, really, I'm thank you to my family that gives me the time to do this, because this is how passionate and how hard.
It's a lot of work too.
It is a lot of work, and if anything, I want to leave is that I'm going to work hard for you. I'm going to work, and I'm going to be loyal to this community. Anything you guys can do is this: tell your friends, your family, come March 3rd. It's an early election. I need people to get out and vote, because a lot of us don't seem to want to vote, and I don't know why. Even if it's not for me, just go out and vote, right? Get out and vote and tell people to vote. Register if you haven't registered. If you want to have a voice or an opinion, that's the way to do it. Register and vote for folks that you believe in, and for folks that you don't believe in, guess what? You can also vote against them too. But I would also just end by saying, hey, my name is Carlos Villapudua, and I'm running for state assembly. Look at my Facebook, share it with your friends, and again, March 3rd, get out and vote. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for Carlos Villapudua for everything. I really admire your passion, your dedication for what you're doing. I really appreciate you do a lot of things in the community, and I thank Renee for doing the board and helping me. So thanks a lot, everything. And come tomorrow. Also, it's going to be the Gold Star family Looning Stars. So just more than once they come, they're going to have salute. They're going to have ceremonial. They're going to have, my sister is going to be speaking the keynote speaking.
Nice.
So
nice.
It's going to be a kind of warm touching, so I hope you guys come. It's a free event, and also they're going to have, after that, we're going to have food and drink.
And that's at the VFW at the Civic Auditorium tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Great.
Have a good day. I love you.
Good.
Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone.